lane lock-in.
Oh, wait. Sorry, there's Moskov. There's still Moskov available. Might as well, right?
Yeah,
Just make sure
Moskov,
you don't die to
Ranger,
Hayabusa.
go for range, go for good scaling. The important thing is to keep mid open for flexibility, because TODAK has not revealed their roam yet. We don't know exactly how they're approaching the team fight. Looks like they do lock in the Lunox instead, though.
Okay, I think that's totally fine. I don't think it was necessary because TODAK already locked in their mid laner, but I feel like AERO want to guarantee a decent matchup despite Hayabusa being in play, and their entire composition is like, hey, we have ways to deal with the Hayabusa, and just got to make sure that we iframe out of it at the right time, right? Just don't get hit by the shadow, I suppose.
It's possible, but I feel like they should have kept the flexibility. Because right now there's still heroes like Chip, for example.
Yeah.
Very popular hero, hasn't been picked yet. Could be an option for TODAK. If they go into Chip, then leaving mid open and locking in Eve last would have been a really good answer to it. But I guess it's up to TODAK now. What are they going to finish off their comp with? It is the Ruby and the Hylos.
Very fun composition coming out from TODAK's side. No Yi Shin in the jungle, no problem. They're going to depend highly on Hayabusa and as well as Farsa to deal the majority of their damage. But this is a highly sustainable composition. I don't know how much... Actually, this is kind of beneficial for Farsa, I suppose. Yes, you don't have many shields, but there's 4 melee heroes in play. As long as they're all clumped up, you should be able to outsustain a majority of that damage, assuming that Ruby doesn't just lock you down to the ground alongside with the high loss. But looking at the composition from AERO, they have a lot more problems to worry about.
Yeah, TODAK, while it's a bit risky to go for this sort of lineup because you don't have the late game scaling of a marksman, 4 of these heroes can actually do pretty okay damage output. So that actually more than makes up for it and will give them a lot of early mid control. AERO just goes for the basics. They lock in the Granger as the last pick for a much more default composition. But it does mean that they're going to be lacking overall early game burst.
So, the scaling... It's going to come down from Husei. It's going to come down from Kim as well. Hazel should have a pretty tough time in this game. There's a lot of crowd control that he has to deal with, and almost no guaranteed way to get on top of this Farsa unless Zyme Senpoi makes a mistake. We'll see Hazel's performance overall this time around, especially since he's going to be the catalyst to kind of speed this game up. In terms of raw scaling, TODAK, yes, they have that Farsa, but it's a cooldown that they have to play around for the most part. They're highly dependent on Zai to kind of speed this up to unlock Fondir or maybe even Loliel.
With 4 backline diving heroes, I feel like this is basically the template for what you want in the expanding rivers. Let's see if they can maximize that to claim victory here in our very first game of week number 3, ladies and gentlemen. The Land of Dawn draws open once more for a clash between TODAK and AERO Esports.
Let's jump right into it. Here we already see... Oh, wait, we see early invades. I don't see the Dream is not checking any of the buff.
What?
Doesn't want to put himself in a position. They're going to forcefully take control over the mid lane and get Zyme Senpoi moving as fast as possible. I mean, it's okay for Dreams because he does still spot at least 3 people on top of getting his own individual amount of gold.
But I feel like he could have gotten a lot more. He doesn't even need to invade. Just walk up slightly, you would have seen 3 or 4 people on that buff and hit level 2 even sooner. So maybe a little wasted there, but it's fine for now. TODAK should, on paper, be the team controlling most of these lanes. And oh, hold on, there's a bit of an interesting situation here. CC is in the gold lane versus Granger.
Yeah, I would have imagined that CC would have done better into the Esmeralda.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think it doesn't matter, right? Fondir playing this Ruby doesn't really change. He's going to lose a bit of life, but he's going to heal back up anyways. And I think that Smooth is playing the lane extremely well. He doesn't really care about whether he gets that push or not. He just cares whether or not Fondir is in a manageable amount of HP, because both of these guys are basically never going to die. We do notice that Lolios actually decided to take some hybrid defense here against Kusei on this Granger. Not sure whether that's going to make much of a difference here because he's more dependent on his sustain rather than raw armor.
I mean, I can respect wanting to survive the poke against a Granger a little bit, but I do feel like as a CC you should be fine. I personally do think it's a little bit of a waste, since doing the Ruby CC in the opposite lanes would have probably had much better side lane control for you, but
Each their own, some may say, to each their own. And now we might just see first blood.
Two-man knockout, Glorious Pathway comes out. Zayed gonna get grabbed. First blood over to Zkeef already. And now TODAK forced to back off AERO with full control over the turtle.
Really good engagement there. Zkeef instantly, as soon as he hit level 4, he was looking for angles to play around. And that's what you want to see from your supports these days. Hitting level 4 on time without having to sacrifice any of the lanes to give you that extra bit of EXP to get you over the edge. It goes for Dreams, but again, level 4, a dangerous timing for TODAK's side. Fortunately for Zai, he still has his ult up, but he hasn't found any opportunities to attack the side lanes.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate as well. I already went into this game saying TODAK should have a bit more control early on paper since they have so many fighters to play with, but Zai did not respect the space, did not respect the level 4 timing on this Kalea. He is literally the last person that should get grabbed there.
As this game continues to progress, the laning stage looks to be pretty okay, right? Even Loliel's should be hitting level 5 in just a little bit. Kusei does have a bit of a lead on him. I'm assuming that Kusei was able to get a couple of the crabs. Actually, now that I think about it, he's a little leveled more than he probably should be. We'll see how AERO takes advantage of this, right? Because Fondier's taking so much damage.
Flicker in, Tsunami Slam, they want this Ruby. 3-man CC from Fondier into the I'm offended. Brilliance comes out, Flicker from Fondier, staying under tower, still surrounded by 3 people. But there's that Ruby healing for you right there. It's gonna take a very long time. They'll eventually get the kill.
Nicely played. A good setup coming in from Smooth, especially trying to go for the early proxy to make sure that they can guarantee the timing of the dive. And then they played it slow, right? Zkeef did commit his ult, and at the same time, Kim was making sure that he doesn't get pulled in too often to make sure that Fondier maintains. Now, Loliel's trying to keep Kusei out of the lane. It's a good idea, but Zkeef's impact is so obvious, so clear, right? Every time he has ult, he's looking for a target.
The activeness of this Kalea doing a lot for TODAK right now. Dreams gonna come on in, contest the buff against Hazel. Now Smooth goes for Falling Star Moon, lands on 2! Into the Tsunami Slam on Zion once again! He is bursted down! And there's nothing TODAK can do about it. Another free turtle for AERO.
Good diversion here. AERO throwing up those smoke and mirrors. Oh, am I gonna Falling Star Moon on top of the Farsa? No, he catches Zayed instead, and they will try to deny him his purple.
Looks like they'll successfully do so too. TODAK, this comp, it should work well on the river map, but they have zero control at all. AERO looking a lot better right now.
Say better, but I felt like TODAK could have played the early game a little faster, right? I would have expected to see at least some ganks towards the side lanes early on, just to kind of skew it into one of the fighters' favors. Oh, all right.
Well, here's the gank. They get the stun on Zkeef. Gets caught with the curtain call. Loleo finds a kill.
Zkeef unable to flicker in time. Better yet, I don't think him dying is going to change too much. The kill ends up going to Loliel, sure, but he doesn't scale as hard. Worst yet, plenty of time. Kim with 3 assists. Wow! First item, 5 minutes, 30 seconds into the game. Fleeting time. AERO want to take up the clock.
I mean, why not? Zkeef has been setting these kills up so well the entire time. And even if he does die, it means wasting resources on him. I think this is actually a very good choice.
All right, let's see. Because now I want to see when they want to eventually just chain ult, right? Zkeef could look to pick up Dreams, but he needs Kim to be at a certain threshold of items before they can even consider that option. Fondier already finishing off that War Axe. The first item power spikes are already starting to come through. I'm expecting to see TODAK actually look to contest for this next neutral objective, but it's still 30 seconds left on the clock, right? Wait, where is Fondier? Oh, he's still upside alongside Zayed.
Oh, Zkeef gonna be able to find one. That's the horse right there. Dream is thrown into AERO, and that is a nightmare for TODAK.
That's exactly what you want to see. Smooth even taking a bit of Zyme Senpou's life as well. They proxy one more wave to make sure they have a guaranteed setup for this turtle. And not to mention, they don't even have to take it at this point. They can just look for T1s and then invade.
It's like they'll be able to go for the tower. Perfect spacing too from Smooth and Kim to make sure they don't get CC'd by Fondier. Now Hazel on top of the third turtle of the game. Loleel walks into the wrong bush. He's just gone. Nothing you can do about that one.
This game is starting to look pretty over for TODAK. This is going to be a difficult snowball to come back from, especially with the expanding rivers. Just look how quickly Zkeep is already in the next position, checking buffs and spots out where exactly Zayed is going to be. They could look to alter their rotations at this point now that bot side is already collapsed. We do see that, at least for Kusei, he's on that top side. But I would have expected both Kim alongside Hazel to invade on the orange side of TODAK's map.
I feel like TODAK are not really able to make the decisions necessary right now. We can see that their rotations also a little bit dependent on being together at this stage since they know they are behind. And Flicker, I'm offended, find two! Hazel gonna get tied to Kim, Brilliance comes out, the rest of AERO comes to back them up. Right now, all 5 members still alive. Hazel gonna be able to dash away, Tsunami Slam onto the Hayabusa. Kim gets bursted down, but that's the only casualty so far. Smooth still holding out the front line.
Oh, he lands the falling star move, but Vondir, he's still alive, right? 2 people walk away, and we don't see enough happening. AERO, they initiate. Kim ends up losing his life for it, and TODAK was able to muscle their way through.
But all things considered, the fact that only Kim ended up going down there is surprising to me. I thought that TODAK for sure would have been able to find at least one more with that I'm offended. But we can see the goal difference starting to play a role here. Zayed at this stage still only on 1 item.
1 item. I mean, I think it's okay. Zayed, he's going to have a pretty tough time. He can't really initiate in a majority of these fights. Oh, another Tsunami Slam.
Speaking of initiation, Tsunami Slam with the feathered airstrike going to be used. Zayed Senpoi, the instant target as Hazel dives the backline. Zkeep is low, flickers out of the way. Double kill for Hazel as the Phantom Execution finds its mark. Lolil gets a kill on Kim, but loses his own life in exchange. And Smooth chases Zayed down. Double kill for Kusei. Team wipe for AERO Esports.
Nicely played by AERO. And even Smooth making sure to guarantee to break the shieldings. Kusei, as long as he stays alive, that Sky Piercer is going to put that final nail in the coffin as soon as he reaches max stacks. TODAK, I thought they could hold off for a little bit longer because the first item power spikes, but the fights don't last it long enough for them to get full value.
The fight here was completely scattered. Hazel and Smooth doing an excellent job of dismantling the backline. Unfortunately, TODAK not enough damage to actually threaten arrows in exchange.
Now they're knocking on their doors, taking everything from their jungle, living rent-free in their minds. Zayed just does not have the economy to start taking out some big hitters. Damage dealt ranking Smooth currently on top with 34k.
Of that first pick, Esmeralda not affected him at all. Fortunately, the Ruby matchup maybe a little bit unwise on the side of TODAK there, not giving them enough control over that early part of the map. Now Lord gonna be pushing in mid lane.
Brute Force Breastplate already purchased by Hazel. It's not gonna get locked down as hard by Fondir. Extra tenacity is always great. Now, they're gonna be looking for inhibitor turrets, and I think that TODAK, the defense seems pretty good, but the range coming in from AERO is the big problem.
Better there, strike to siege to defend. Zkeep jumps in once again, finds the heavy slam. Fondir gonna be the first target. Ruby bursted in an instant. AERO still alive. Curtain Call gonna Kai Zkeep into the tower. That means he unfortunately does lose his life. Lord goes down. Mid inhibitor gonna be traded as well. Currently 4 members alive on both teams. AERO not letting up the pressure.
The Lolios decides to...
Okay, shadow kill onto the back. Kusei has to use the flicker just to make sure he doesn't get bursted down. Smooth with the falling star moon. Nearly picks up Zayed. Hazel finishes the job. Unstoppable for the AERO Esports jungler. TODAK gonna need to try their best to hold on a little bit longer.
Woof. All right, so only 1 missing inhibitor. It's the mid inhibitor, and I think overall mid inhibitor is the least worthwhile one. At least I'll be able to defend it consistently because everything kind of goes through the mid. I'm surprised I did as much damage as he could, but even so, just not enough. He's way too far behind. 4 levels down in comparison to Hazel, who had a magnificent showing as soon as the minions spawned by the base. That's what some people call the infinite amount of dashes, and Hazel taking full advantage of it.
We talked about how quickly you can snowball on a map like this, and that's exactly what happened after that first kill on the Hayabusa. In the first turtle fight, things just went downhill. It's a 10,000 gold lead for AERO Esports. 12 minutes into the game, And the next Lord is coming up in 25 seconds. I really don't think TODAK can contest.
No, I mean, look at the 5k, almost 5k difference between Hazel alongside Zayed, right? They ignore the EXP difference. The gold is just not in their favor. And then we look at Smooth, who again, very smartly decided after his first 2 items, has also incorporated some steel leggings, make sure that he's got halfway through a Dom Ice, even having a Giant's Belt on his side. He knows he doesn't need that 3rd item straight away. He can be cost efficient.
TODAK just doesn't do enough damage to threaten him. Conceal comes in, but the Lord goes down at the perfect time. Tsunami Slam comes out. Predator Strike as well, trying to seize backline. Kim, unfortunately, does end up being a victim as Smooth dives. Gets the kill onto the far side. Ogi Shadow Kill doesn't do enough in the backline either. It's a double kill for Smooth. The Esmeralda, still completely healthy, still completely a threat to the side of TODAK. Sees Zayed, wants an eye. A mega kill snipe comes in from Kusei. And TODAK, we are witnessing their death throes.
Yep. They can't even breathe right now. Smooth. He's finished his brute force breastplate. He can chase down anybody from the side of TODAK. Nobody's going to be able to slip away any longer. And this should be the end here. Checkmate angle achieved.
One more Tsunami Slam just for good measure at the very end. Immortality goes down on Dream. Zyme Senpoi comes back, instantly gets dived, instantly gets exploded by Smooth. Hazel will be picked up, but Lileel is defending the base all by his lonesome, and AERO Esports will take it. Game number 1 goes to them.
Nicely played here on the expanding rivers. Really found those big conversions, and Smooth. Honestly, I thought this game was going to look a little harder, but TODAK, the lane assignments were just wrong.
I really don't know why they did that. They had the perfect answer to Esme in that CC. They even picked CC before Esme. But then they put CC in the goal lane and then had Ruby fight a losing battle. All for what? And then Zayed overextending over and over again and getting caught as supposedly the slipperiest member of his team. Lots of things to be worked on here.
Yeah, couldn't open up the map, and especially after Dreams got caught by the Tsunami Slam, even he was a little hesitant to start opening things up. It would have been nice for him to get the Grok, but that second phase was devastating from AERO Esports. All their predictions happened to be right. They drafted well this time round, and I would say that TODAK, they really need to look back at it, because I don't necessarily disagree with CC going down into that gold lane, right? It's about who do you prioritize to actually get the money? Do you care about the Ruby into the Granger matchup? Which again, Granger is slightly favored only because he can dash away consistently and outrange the Ruby, but that makes it a null and void lane, and you have to highly depend on your EXP. Or just say, you know what? Ruby is going to make the lane null and void anyways, put him alongside the Esmeralda, and then maybe CC might have an opportunity to find that kill onto Kusei.
Yeah, I think the steps that TODAK needed to take needed to be more concrete. Because even though we agree that like maybe swapping the lane assignments would have made it easier, I can see the logic behind why they did it, right? If you put Ruby in EXP, she can technically join fights and be a bit more impactful, especially on that first turtle compared to something like an Esmeralda. But if that's the case, why not let Ruby handle herself? Gank the gold lane so that Esme can join the fight as well and take advantage of like your triple fighter composition. Instead, they did not do that. It felt like they didn't really have much of a presence on the map the first few minutes at all. And then Zayed dies first. It's just the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting Zekif to actually hit level 4 as soon as he did, but Zekif was just living rent-free in enemy territory, right? Keep in mind, right? Usually what we're used to seeing, especially before the changes, was that you either sacrifice a bit of the farm in the EXP lane to get your mid laner to level 4, share it a little bit with your support as well, as the support takes the entire wave, and then everybody is at level 4 at the same time. I was surprised that Zeke hit level 4 at that timing as well.
I mean, that's what happens when you actually walk into the enemy's half of the map a little bit more often. But let's see who ends up being our MVP for game number 1, and it looks like it is none other than Smooth on the Esmeralda.
Did they not? Did they not get his IGN on his jersey? They're like, I'm sorry, Smooth, you came in a little late. We don't have it ready for you. Don't worry.
His IGN is on his jersey. It's all blank. It's smooth.
It's smooth, but it's black. So you can't see it. That's how quick he is. Nice stuff coming in from Smooth. He played the lane well, especially against the Ruby. Most people don't know how to take advantage of the Ruby, especially in the earlier stages because of the raw sustain. But when you are Esmeralda, you can deal with that, no problem. You can trade for extended periods of time because you know that Ruby has to walk up to get EXP.
Yeah, you just straight up trade better than Ruby all the time. And if you properly position your minion wave and don't allow them to get to it, then you win even harder. Because she's not going to be able to regen off of it. I think Fondir just really could not handle that lane, and we've already seen how in this meta, having a losing EXP lane matchup really hurts you. Even more so on a map like Expanding Rivers.
And that's why we're seeing huge level leads, not only from the junglers, but also from the EXP side of the map. That's why Expanding Rivers can be a little difficult to play, especially when you're on that back foot. It's not like Smooth was earning a ridiculous amount of gold. 693 is very reasonable considering his 5-0 and 12 scoreline.
Yeah, it's honestly, the numbers don't really add up when you really look at it. Cause 693, yeah, that's pretty high for EXP laner. And then you look at the KDA, you look at the kill participation, you realize just how much of an impact Smooth is having on that map. Cause after a certain point, TODAK just don't have any way of taking him out.
Yeah, no answers whatsoever. I think they were hoping that maybe at the very least the CC was going to get to a point where she was going to be pretty strong coming into the mid game. To be fair, Lolios did get his 2 items. It's just, fortunately, it's impossible to really deal with not only an infinite number of shields coming in from Smooth, but the raw healing from the Kalea. And most of the time it's a 4v5 because the Tsunami Slams have been very successful on AERO's side.
Yeah, gotta give props to Ziki. He found really good catches. He was opening up the map left and right, going for that first item fleeting time because he was confident enough that it would work out, and it did. Created so much space, so many opportunities for AERO to take advantage of. I do feel like it's a bit of a missed opportunity still for TODAK, because yes, I can kind of see why you might put Ruby in the EXP lane, but this is Expanding Rivers, and this is Esmeralda. This is not a hero you can allow to snowball the lane.
Yep, it's frustrating. It's a lot worse to deal with in comparison to things like Uranus, who is just like, I'm there to annoy you, and then you have Esme, who is like, I'm here to annoy you, but there's a really high chance that I kill you too.
Ugh, well, hopefully a little bit more respect on that is going to come up next, because TODAK definitely needs to go back to drawing board, and this is a little bit back to the topic we were talking about, right? Is it going to be draft? Is it going to be execution? I do feel like all AERO needed was to go back to basics, play something that they're comfortable with, something that makes sense, doesn't require overly complex execution, and this is how it ended out.
Exactly the way that they were hoping to. I do think that TODAK could have adjusted, because again, second pick Esmeralda, that should have been so punishable with first pick CC.
Yeah, even more so, if you're not intending to have a marksman in your comp, you cannot let this hero snowball. You will have no way of killing her. You have to stop her right from the beginning.
And even if maybe if they locked in the Ruby a little bit later on, it could have been thrown into the support position, because again, a lot of her abilities have great canceling effects to Zkeep's natural engage, and they just wanted to make sure that this Ruby could deal with the Lancelot, and Hazel didn't really have to do too much until those cooldowns were gone.
Well, let's have a look at the highlights once again to relive those moments, because this should not have happened. Zayed being the first blood of the game, the enemy jungler. After that, AERO realizes, hey, let's just focus the Hayabusa. And you pointed this out before the game. Hayabusa is the space maker, the tempo creator for TODAK. If they don't have that, they don't really have much.
Yep. They couldn't get that early snowball that they were looking for. That's what TODAK really needed, right? That turtle really hurt their odds overall. And then the few times that we do see them actually somewhat winning a fight, they only find just one pick. Their conversions weren't as massive compared to AERO, where it's like, I take out 2 or 3 of your guys, and therefore I get your purple buff. I get all your T1s. I get your other buff as well. I can contest for it alongside.
At the threat of river control right there. Even worse when the river is expanded like it is here. You get so much space the moment a snowball is happening. The moment you win a fight, it is